these. So, you've seen them probably pop up in a couple of videos I've been doing, and they're rather unique looking. You're not going to mistake this for some other pair of headphones that might have been on my channel before. These are Abyss. These are all I thought of when I thought of Abyss. The Diana is a recent addition to their lineup, and everyone says the Diana is ugly, but wholly an improvement over the Frankensteins because of the shape. Now, I'm gonna tell you the price of this Zeos Platinum Edition video. These in light form, which means very few accessories, are $5,000. So they've definitely earned their way to the most expensive headphone I've ever reviewed, right? We've got a couple $3,000 headphones. The other Diana was $4,000, and the one that was more enjoyable for me at least was $3,000. So these are $5,000, and it goes up from there, and we'll explain the pricing schematics, but let's talk about these for a second. So I know only like 49% of my actual viewership is America. So when I say something's proudly made in America, 51 to 53% of you don't give a shit. But they are proudly made in America. Actually, they're made in New York, and not a little bit. Like, everything is made in New York except for the leather bag. But don't worry, these don't come with that leather bag. That's only for the deluxe, or hold on. Where did my mousey go? Yeah, there's a deluxe and the complete. So real quick, these are $5,000, right? They come with the standard wire. This is the standard wire, which, by the way, I'm using the standard wire. I don't hate it to death because it follows the moniker of my favorite design, which is put the split at the connector and just keep it going for, like, I don't know, 8 feet. Although 8 feet's a little much with this, but I'm accepting of that. If you get the deluxe version, it goes up $1,000. You get a headphone stand, a leather case, and the leather is made in California, and a different set of wires, which is independent left and right, with a combiner at the end. And then if you switch to the complete, you get a headphone stand, the leather case, a different cable altogether. It goes up to $8,000. And then if you wanted to, you can take it from 8 foot to 24 feet of cable. And let me see if I click it. Yeah, there it is. $11,195. That's just cable. That's a headphone stand, a bag, and a cable, which will take this $5,000 headphone up to an 11. I don't have another finger. I don't have enough fingers. That's rare when we're talking about thousands of dollars to have something that I can't. 11. So this is not a headphone for the poor. For the what was it? Give us your meek and disabled. I forget what's on the Statue of Liberty, but it's something along the lines of people who can't afford Abyss 1266. And these are the Phi TCs, which stands for, I have to get it right. I think it's total consciousness. They're one of the best made headphones on Earth, period. If you were sending headphones to space with the astronauts, you ever see Space Tools? You ever see what an astronaut's fucking screwdriver looks like? It is not the Harbor Freight Special they put up in space. They over-engineer, they charge the government to over-engineer a $30,000 screwdriver so that when they're in space, nothing goes wrong. And if I had to make headsets for the astronauts, I'd start here and then try to find a way to make them cheaper. All aluminum, everything's aluminum, except for in here, the magnet structure is being held in place with very thin steel, ceramic-coated steel. The only plastic I could find in the whole unit, because it says no plastic, but I'm Zeos. The back of this lambskin pad, perforated on the outside, by the way, to let it breathe when you crush it against your head, is this plastic. And I wouldn't even know if that's real plastic or some sort of polymer. It feels very nice. Everything feels very nice. So let's explore. I've spent weeks now with this. DMS brought this pair, which is his pair, over, and he said, Zeos, do your worst. So, I'm going to complain about some stuff, but at the same time, I'm going to be like, fuck. So, the way this works is there's a magnet, there's metal probably back here because it sticks. And we're just going to take this, I think it goes there. You see all those notches align with the screws, and all the screws, apparently they didn't find any place that could make the screws to their tolerance specifications, so they make all their screws in-house too. These are a passion project. They're made by a crazy person. And that's fine. We're in the audiophile game. Crazy people are everywhere. Cheap Chinese knockoffs are everywhere. There's good stuff, there's bad stuff, and this is fun. If you're coming to me for a recommendation for a headphone and you have $5,000 to spend, fuck it. Here you go. You could also buy 10 $500 headphones, or two $2,000 headphones, and then two $500 headphones, or you could buy a whole bunch of Bluetooth headphones from Amazon, like 700 of them. Who cares at this price point? No one should be paying that close of an attention to Zeos. But I am pretty enamored by what this is offering. And not just the build, it's not just that they're going to showcase them trying to destroy these by running them over with a car over and over again. And the all aluminum frame. And a lot of this has got to do with like never breaking. I'm like, all right, does anybody, all right, this is how you adjust the tilt. You know, headphones usually do this. Tilt this way, and adjust this way. These headphones tilt this way, the end. Oh, I'm sorry, they also will get closer because they're designed to sit atop your head and then hover just barely touching your ears, which I found a little bit weird. So I adjusted them out all the way, but they're kinked in a little bit. This aluminum can be slightly manipulated, like you could get in here and do some bending to it just to adjust for yourself. Because that's one of the things, when I'm at a show, I'm not going to go start fucking with it. But DMS is like, oh, this is my pair, hold on. And he just starts bending the shit out of it because it's never going to break. And if it does break, it's under warranty. And it's like, oh, they'll fix anything. So he gets it to sit just about where I am perfect. And then I realize there's no height adjustment. So I could adjust that, but they won't tilt in or out like this. And there's no height adjustment. So I figured out if you rotate the pads, you can see the pad has a very, very distinctive oval shape. But it is rotatable, and this is the fattest part on the back. That's a very large oval. That is a 3-knuckle easy fit and rotate knuckle 3-knuckle. So if I take this, and instead of having the fattest part of the very, very back, if I rotate it to have, let me see where that is. I think it's that. Yes, going by the knot. If I do that, it fills in where the gapping would be under my ear, because I prefer it sealed. So that takes up for the ability for it to do this. You just put the wider part at the bottom. So now the height adjustment. And there's several ways that they could fix this. Because you get that. It hangs from this very, very, very thick and soft and nice leather strap on these rubber bands. Which I'm sure they'll sell you replaced rubber bands, although I don't know how you'd have to get them in through this. So maybe they just sell you the whole new one of this. It simply comes off of here. There. It's just a little notchway they put up here, and this says R, and that's your right indicator. And when you want to install it, you go whoop, whoop. Very cool. Very simple. I like simple things. Now, they can't make this slide because that's a failure point, and they didn't want to add any failure points. What they could have done, because I wanted to, I want more up. I want up. DMS's ears are apparently under his chin, so he needs to bring everything down. And I need to bring things slightly up. So I couldn't figure out how to do that. If they would have made this the same top and bottom, I could have moved these straps to the bottom part of it, and looped it over the top, and then I could have lowered this probably 3/8 of an inch. And what I was doing is I was taking this is a leather strap, by the way, from Understated, which is a person in Montreal who makes very fucking nice leather. This is for T50s, and I'm going to link them, and they're going to get work, because this is going on my T60 RPs, and this is French calf leather, and holy fuck, like, this is nice, and this is nice, but I could afford this. And I was actually just putting this under it like that and using it just to add like 1/8 of an inch. I needed just the slightest little bit more lift out of that, because I mean the elastics are gonna wear out. And then after I was doing that for a while, I figured I could do this. Spin this around twice. More tension on the rubber, a little bit stiffer hold, boom, fixed my height. So I've had to sort of get creative with the comfort and fit, because Abyss is not known for being the most comfortable headphone, but then again, Abyss is not designing headphones that look like headphones. They're designing apparatuses. I feel like they're the closest thing to aperture science in the headphone industry. And I'll let you argue that in the comments. Because this is... I could hear the Lemon's speech. He's like, headphone adjustments? Fuck needs adjustments for? Have we finished foamed aluminum to make foam out of aluminum? And you think that's some crazy talk, but you see this and it looks like sponge or like foam. But you hit it and it's like coral. And I'm like, what the fuck is this? And sure enough, in the specs, it's like, yeah, we use foamed aluminum as a vent so we could adjust specifically how it works with planars, and since it's a non-ferrous thing, it won't affect the magnets. And I'm just like, oh, that's why they're $5,000. Because I don't know of any other headphones that I currently have that use fucking foamed aluminum as the back. Like you could just, I don't understand. I want a piece of this. I want it just to play with it, because it's a rock. That's all aluminum in a foam. They foamed aluminum. Okay. Can we get to how they sound, Zeos? Because you keep talking about them. And I think I'm basically done. They use, as far as build, they use actually, like, oh my god, a standard, like, mini XLR 3-pin. And it is slightly tighter in there than I'd normally like it, because I have other wires I've tried to use. They get a little sticky. The wire itself is made by JPS Labs, which is why they cost $11,000 when you get the upgraded one. I love the design. I'm okay with their shininess. They're a little bit stiff. They're a little bit coaxial. They feel like I should be running my up to my rabbit ears in my TV. But the double split means you could do this, and it doesn't ever have that ding dong fucking split, and I hate that. I'm having a custom wire made for my 909s that does all the way down to the split. You'll see that in upcoming videos. Okay, what have I complained about? Adjustability, gotcha. Weight distribution, real quick. Because this sits in your head, and they do sit on your head. And you don't ignore this bit. There's some weight here, but it's all very thin and light. But this is thin and light. It's like it's one perfect balanced thing, but a lot of it is still biased above your head. So when you're wearing them, you never quite feel like you're wearing just headphones. No matter how you adjust this, no matter how you twist this to add tension to it, it always feels like you're wearing something weird. But when you put it on, that's when you actually know why they're $5,000. I could talk about how they're built all day. Literally, all fucking day. In fact, what are we, 11 minutes into this video? I could talk about how everything's laser engraved, so you know it. But at the end of the day, if you put them on and they sound like Beats from Walmart from 2011, who gives a shit? Luckily, they don't. They don't sound like that. And I've never sat down with them long enough to really know. It's always been New York Audio Show, had them hooked up to those dual giant tubes, monoblocked, and they were playing whatever shitty music was on the fucking playlist from some obscure East European streaming service that streams DSD 1024, and I'm like, Number one, they never fit right. I got these to fit right, and you got to spend some time. You got to rotate. You got to figure this out. You got to you put them on and you do this. It's like, do I want that or do I want that? Do I want that? How do I want these to be angled? And once you get them fitting right and you're listening to them, they're the most detailed headphones on the face of the earth. That's all they needed going. They just, you go through all this fucking pomp and circumstance and you had better deliver something that is the best of ever, and that is what these forever ever do, is detail. And I'm just, like, I did the Diana and I'm like, oh, the Diana, oh my god, the Diana, oh my god, the Diana. And then you get these and it's like, fuck. Because they've, I think the membrane is lighter than stacks, like the high-end stacks. The membrane itself, even as a planar and not an electrostat, which means there's wires running, it's thinner and lighter and faster, and fuck. These are full of fuck. They just, what comes out of there. And I'm sure they can't link this on their website now that I've said that. But I don't care. This is not for them. This is for you, and this is for me. Because when I get senile in about 3 years, I want to be able to go back and say, I wonder what those sounded like. And I'm going to be like, oh yeah, fuck, shut out of the ear holes. It's almost too much detail. Like LCD 4s, I complain because you put them on and it's shouting detail at you and you can't listen for more than a handful of minutes before you have to just turn that shit down and back away. And these are not that. Because it does say on the thing, oh, it's detailed, but you can, it literally says that you can listen to you for hours. And whatever they've done, however they've removed distortion, because that's usually the biggest problem with long time listening, is you get micro distortions fuck you up. Whether it's the foamed aluminum or the way that it doesn't clamp and compress the pad so it's always perfectly distanced, so whatever they measured is perfect. These are the detail kings of the earth. I'm not going to speak for the whole solar system or universe because I don't know what's out there yet. Hook me up, Rick and or Morty. But I've heard some shit in these, man. Like, every song, and even the poorly recorded ones, I'm sort of like staring at my monitor, wondering what could come close to this. Because I've got plenty of planars. And planar, then I've got stacks. Like, stacks get me close, but there's an easiness to these. Not to drive them, by the way. They need They need the Emotiva with this on medium gain and this at like, what is that? 2 o'clock? That's a lot. This maxed out if you're going for the reference. We're on high gain here at 2 o'clock, again with the Geshelli Labs DAC turned down a little bit because I don't want to add distortion. Luckily, I've got this son of a bitch, which is the $6,000 Audioval Solaris DAC. So I've got the USB DAC running through tubes. This can push 8 watts a channel. This, at I think these are 40-something ohms, should produce about 8 watts a channel. And I know the 789 can produce 6 watts a channel, which is, honestly, I don't like them the most on the THX. Because these have such pure detail and like the way they sound. Imaging is, I guess benchmark would be the word. The only thing I can compare them to is the room-corrected Genelex, the $6,000 a pair giant speakers that I had to sit there with the microphone and correct out all the imperfections of the room. And because it's sort of like that sound. It's a little dry, but you just sat there in amazement at what you were hearing. You were like, whoa. Is this real life? And that's that in headphones. If you want to even call these headphones. So, other than needing an atomic reactor to power them, and oh, by the way, I did run him off the SMSL SP200, and that sounded just fine. Actually, sounded better than the 789. This is one of the rare cases where I was actually swapping through. It didn't just sound the same as the 789, This added a little bit more something to it, possibly because I wasn't using a Shelly DAC or something else. But I'll link to this because I can link to that on APOS because APOS people are awesome. It's like all the sounds are happening all at once. Hold on. Like the kick drum in this. And this is Ex Machina, Night of the Rottweiler 4, which, you're welcome. This whole video was worth it just to say that from the new Retrowave Presents. If I throw these at that dog, there's a good chance I can go out there. There'll be a little bit scratched to the finish, but I can still use them. Here's a little interesting fact. Here's an interesting factoid. When you take them off, when you're listening to them, holy fuck, that kick drum. When you take them off and the seal breaks from against your head, the sound that they're outputting actually changes. It sounds like the driver's going even freer, and it's like you could hear it pushing more bass, and when it's against your head, it calms it down. It was the weirdest thing, because someone was trying them in my house. They were listening to something. I heard the song. They took it off mid-song, and as they took it off their head, the sound I could hear changed. And it wasn't just because it was also shooting out of the insides. The actual, I've done this, and you could hear from the pressure encapsulated in it that it actually tunes the driver back down to normality. When they're just free floating, I would definitely lower the volume. If you're one of those people who takes it off like that. Oh. Solid is the word. This feels like, you know when you're modeling in a program and you draw like a sphere or a house or a wall, and you walk into it or you stick your head into it and there's just a gap and you could see that there's nothing inside of it. This feels like the music isn't hollow. And this is a very trippy, I'm not even on drugs right now, but I feel like that's, dude, man, the music is like a solid object, bro. It's like I'm in this object. If like a basketball was music and I like put my head in it, but it was like a bowling ball inside, like that. Like, it's very hard to describe. There's not a point in the sphere around me that I think is nothing going on. It's everywhere. It's complete. This is a trippy ass thing. And I'm running it off a tube, first of all. And I'll take it off of that. And that should be permanently in my setup, I hope. We'll put it on the QES reference, which is a Class A, which is maxed out. I think I could tell what mixer they used to make this song. It's one of those. It's like, oh, the way that sound is put in this particular spot, and you could hear the slight reverb echo. Oh, that's definitely a Roland MC712X doing that. I don't actually know if that's a thing, but I'm sure that Roland made something called an MC712X. It stages all the sounds exactly where they are intended to be. And here's the thing about intended, and I talked about this in another review, I don't remember which one, but I wonder about a lot of these artists, because these, yeah, maybe new Retrowave is made by people who don't have the best equipment, but I've listened to some high-end, like Aerosmith and Yossi Horikawa and the London Philharmonic, and I question, have those people who made this music ever actually heard it before? This is London Philharmonic Time, which is Pink Floyd. They're doing the London Philharmonic version of Pink Floyd. And I don't know if they've heard it before, because it's like, they could have made these much more appealing if they just look like any other headphone. If they just adjusted, because this is not, There's nothing like magic. You don't need the parallel lines. They could have just cut this, put a yoke here, got an Odyssey. You could get a set and take out a saw and attach an Odyssey headband, and she makes leather straps, so they make leather straps for Odyssey too. This is out of buffalo hide. And you could just have like a normal headphone. This could just be a normal looking headphone. Then everyone would be like, oh yeah, that's the Odyssey one. But they went with this crazy shit, and it makes you remember it. But then you sit down and you actually study what the sounds are. I'll change over to the cheap amp, which, if for whatever reason you're watching this and you decide to buy these, but you're like, hey Zeos, I only have like $250 to spend on an amp for this $5,000 headphone. Emotiva Bass X. It actually comes with a 1/4-inch adapter that I don't have for the unit. But these are so hard to drive that the quality of the amplification, and I'm not saying that's a bad quality, but I'm saying that I should be able to tell a difference between a like over $2,000 Italian-made Class A and a $250 Chinese-made Emotiva. But as long as you can push the power hard enough, these perform. I did the sound demo for these with that, and I don't regret it. I had more control with that because it's so much power. And if I have to be honest, I like them a little bit more as far as like sitting down and listening to this insane shit storm of sound. If you take that detail and you just lay some mayonnaise on top of it. Like, it doesn't have to be like, no, I want my coffee black. No, put a little cream in there. Just a little, maybe a sprinkling of sugar, aka tubes. Now, I have that other tube amp, the Inspire. And when I review that, I might still have these headphones. DMS wants them back. Apparently needs it for his job. But I want to be a nice person. When he was here, we were playing with them on the Dark Voice, which actually will power them. You can plug these up to a Dark Voice and you get this like warm, you get all the detail. It's like having an 8K screen and watching Looney Tunes on it. All right? These are an 8K screen. They will produce whatever you have. If you put 8K content on it, you watch 8K porn, you're going to get some very, very sharp nipples. However, you put Looney Tunes on it, it still looks like Looney Tunes. You can just pick out all the hilarious fucking bunny rabbits and Donald Duck and Elmer Fudd's. It's just wow. So you play what you want. You pick your level. Some of these headphones up here are up there because I love them. They're not 8K screens. Not all of them are 8K. Some are 4K. Some are 1080p. Hell, I'm pretty sure that the monoprice retros are like CRT tube 277p. But my God, it's fun to play retro arcade games on it. So, resolving, resolution, detail, that's all I have to say about these. Really? The bass is, as long as you twist this around and get a seal, the low end is uncompromisingly perfect. That's big praise from Zeos, because Zeos says a lot of shit about low end. I've not heard their equal or anything that comes close. Look at by the way, look how I'm holding them. As far as weight goes, you'd think something that looks like this would be like heavy. It's not. It's awkward as fuck because nothing moves. Putting them on, and this is the best way I can describe it. I have race helmets. I've taken my car autocrossing. I go-karting occasionally, and putting this on, either like that and then twisting it straight, or just stretching it, pulling it down, it feels like you're putting on a race helmet. At least the way I have it set up. I have it set up to slightly clamp because I want to be able to move and jostle around without it falling off. Every time I've gotten to them at a show, they're real loose. And it's like, as soon as you do this, they sort of like stay there. And I did not want that. So when DMS was here, he showed me, okay, you could bend this in. You could adjust this. If you need to make it tighter, you could do this. So I make this like that. Then there's a tight-ass pair of headphones. I don't think I can say much more. Don't trust the sound demo, by the way. I edited the sound demo. I tried to correct the sound demo because the magnets in here are fucking with the mics and nothing comes out quite perfect. So take the sound demo with a grain of salt. I did my best with it. The only place you're going to be able to hear these is like Can Jam, Rocky Mountain. I don't know if they had a thing at the New York Audio Show. If you're swinging by my apartment in Pennsylvania, hell, maybe these have them going down to Tennessee or up to Buffalo. They're in Buffalo. If you're in Buffalo, New York, you're in Toronto, you want to take a half-hour trip to the States, go to the factory and have a listen. But just know, there's still a lot of crazy audiophile in this, but it actually works. Don't buy the expensive cables. Still don't buy expensive cables. I'm all about good quality cables. Capable, non-distorting, not a lot of resistance cables. But there's a line where I personally, on a personal level, will tell expensive cable manufacturers to shove the fuck off. I do like the design, however. Put this down there. I think I've said everything I need to say about these. I mean, I basically just claim they're the detail queens, kings, fucking jokers, pawns, anything you want. Here, use that 888 as a headphone stand. I'd tube them or cheap amp them, because this is the cleanest, and I don't like listening to them on it as much. If that's all I had, it'd be fine. I like this a little more. I like this a little more, or this. They're honestly interchangeable. And I've been leaving it on that the most because just adding a tubiness to that 8K is just, okay, now I can enjoy it. You could either study with these or enjoy them or enjoy the detail and just fucking pick at it. They never hurt. I'm done. I can feel the list of words that my brain, like the Terminator list. Fuck you, asshole. I went past that like an hour ago. So I'm just trying to get through this now. I think I should stop talking. I'm not going to sell any more of these, and probably people, if you know you want one, if you know you want the most detailed headphone or the most unique headphone or certainly not the most beautiful, apologies, but you can order this in a custom color. This gray, this battleship gray, actually it's a lot darker than battleship. It's gunmetal gray. Or as what do the blondes call it? Gun color. If you want this in purple or red or yellow with black with the Z logo on it, you can get it in that. So at least you know, if you're going to spend the money, spend the fucking money. That wallpaper, which is the same color, by the way, in case you didn't know, is available in the description. All wallpapers are available to my patrons. I have a $2, basically $2, $5, $10, and higher tiers. $2 you get to see like one review every 10 reviews. Also access to all the wallpapers. $5 tier gets you into the yard sales. So anything that I've got here that I'm done with and then I'm going to sell will be in the yard sale. And from the 1st to the 10th of every month, you get to throw your bid in. If you're American, or at least continental states, free shipping for anything you buy. Bid an odd number, so $811 you win for $800.11. I ship for free no matter what it is. International shipping, you pay half. So I will ship things to Bangladesh. Actually, the winners this month, I've got a couple people. I got India and Australia and somewhere else, and it's like, oh God, the paperwork. But I will do that. The $10 tier, which is where the people who actually influence my channel live, because those people pay enough for me to basically behind the scenes spoil reviews before I've even made them, offer me things, I offer them things. Patrons have visited my house. Not that I'm going to invite all patrons into my house. Some of you people are weird. Putting it out there. I'm weird too. And then higher tiers of my Patreon are for people who actually do love me, and I will love you right back. I'm also trying to think of new ways to use those higher patron tiers. Give me some advice in the comments below. I was sort of thinking about making a more expensive Patreon chat, just for like the uber rich can go and just polish their monocles on camera. I think we're done. Sound demo description. I will link to these. I think you can only buy them directly from them. I wouldn't buy these secondhand, because you want to make sure the numbers match with what they got, so that in 3 years. I mean, they should never break, but I think pads are probably going to wear out. These rubber bands will probably snap at some point, and you're going to be like, hey, I have this pair, and I got them. Fix. And they should just be like, all right, sure, whatever. I want to thank Abyss for allowing DMS to give those to me for, I think I've had them for over a month now. But it's changed my mind on them, because I just used to laugh at them and say, haha, these are stupid. But I've seen so many headphones, they do so many stupid things, that at least if you're going to do something stupid, do it the best. Like, this system with the no adjustments is like, all right, I get it. I fucking get it. But you better do something else, and they do. So, thank you, Abyss. I'm done. Sound demo in the description. It'll come out public tomorrow. And I'll see you all with something guaranteed cheaper tomorrow. Unless this comes out tomorrow, because that's $1,000 more. So we'll see.